We'll go back to last night in terms of the storyline for today. There was that controversy with Aaron Judge and him looking off slightly to the right a few times in his final at bat. But he also spoke about it to you in the media today. What did he have to say?
Making a difference in the environment.
Bob, he walked in from the back section of the clubhouse about 4:15 to 4:20, walked over to his locker, and then turned around, and myself and a bunch of the other members of the media were standing there waiting to talk to him, and he said, "You guys need me right now?" with a smile on his face. I then asked him what he thought about the reaction to that 8th inning at bat that you just talked about, Bob, and he said, "Look, I pretty much said everything I needed to say last night in my description as to why I was looking over into the dugout and why he was going about it that way." I then went on to ask him if he took exception with the broadcast from the Blue Jays. They essentially insinuated that he was not doing things above board, that he was maybe doing something that was illegal. And Aaron Judge had this to say, quote, "I've got some choice words about that, but better to just keep it off the record. I'm not happy about it, but people can say what they want. I've got a game to play. I've got things to do." He then picked up a bat and went into the cage thereafter. Now, Bob, Jack, and Todd, I'm sure you guys will be absolutely floored by the fact that it was really the topic of conversation for both Aaron Boone and John Schneider today. And Schneider said after the game last night that they were going to do a deep dive into the video and see exactly what was happening out there. Well, we followed up on that today and asked him exactly what they found with that recon mission.
I think that what we learned is we could probably be a little bit tighter with some of our tendencies or locations with, catchers, gloves, everything. I think just going forward, in terms of the league, we just want to make sure that, every coach is where they should be on the field and confident that they will be going forward.
After reviewing, I'm sure, the entire broadcast, had you seen other Yankees hitters glancing over the way he did?
No, didn't see anyone else. And wasn't aware of it in game, just, kind of came to our attention after the game.
Go ahead there.
Did you feel like you guys were tipping pitches, or you were very obvious about stuff, whether it be the pitcher or the catcher?
It could have been a combination of both, I think, with, the way some guys come set or the way they bring the ball into their glove. And again, that's part of the game. We try to preach that with our guys. We spend the majority of our time making sure our guys are clean and buttoned up. And if they're not, that's part of the game, and it's fair game. I think our focus going forward is to make sure that it is a kind of level playing field and that everyone is where they should be.
John, were you aware of Aaron Judge and Aaron Boone's explanation post-game? And if you did hear them, what did you think of them?
Yeah, I heard them. I get there was kind of a lot of emotion in that at bat with Booney getting tossed and, questions about the strike zone and things like that. I'm not really too concerned. They both said the same thing. I know that about the tripping from the dugout, and I wasn't over there, so if that's what was going on, you understand that Booney's been in the game for a long time and is really accomplished as a manager and player, and Aaron Judge is one of the best players in the game, and you want to give them the benefit of the doubt.
We're all deep diving on everything every day to try and put our teams in the best position to win, so not much of a reaction at all.
They had made the comment, they contacted Major League Baseball, they just wanted to make sure everybody is where they should be, meaning your coaches are in the box. Is that something you take a look at or take exception?
Yeah, I haven't heard any of that, so I don't know that.
Does it bother you that it's kind of being causing the question what you guys may have been doing last night?
I think most of the people in the know that there's nothing there. So, and I'm sure that will be the prevailing wisdom as it unfolds. I understand the noise around it, but I think all of us that are in the game and you guys that cover it understand that nothing's going on here.
A lot of that noise came from the broadcast of the Blue Jays. Just when you heard kind of what they were saying and what they were insinuating, what did you think? I
don't know. I didn't necessarily see the insinuation. I felt like they were trying to be careful of it, just watching the game and watching what they were seeing. So, look, I think, again, everyone that is around the game, I think, understands that, there's nothing going on.
You said you didn't hear anything from Major League Baseball regarding your coaches are supposed to be. Have you heard anything from MLB about last night?
Yeah, we've been in contact with Major League Baseball, so our understanding there's not going to be any kind of investigation because nothing that went on last night was against the rules. So, that's our understanding as far as the league goes.
Given everything that went down yesterday, obviously a nice win for you guys, but where do you expect that intensity level to be tonight because of some of the things that went on?
Yeah, I don't expect anything because of, why you guys are all here or more people are here to, spill out onto the field. I mean, it's two highly competitive teams, two very good teams, and obviously interdivision, so we're very familiar with each other. We compete very hard with one another, but I think there's a mutual respect certainly between both teams.